This is Atlas's 35th session. We're going to work on sideways away here first. He's got that down pretty good. Here I've started using the hay bag, so I just got like a bag for the beach, I think. I got it at Walmart, and it's just got like little tiny holes so like the beach sand can fall through. And it works pretty good for the hay because all the dirt can fall through. Because I really wanted to get him eating out of my hand, and he wasn't quite ready to eat like grain or alfalfa pellets or even like a hay cube out of my hand, because I usually start there and then get a little bit smaller. So we're just going to work with the hay because he's motivated enough to eat the hay and work for that, and then he can get used to eating something out of my hand because we can make it smaller as we go. So I'm asking here with a pre-cue with my legs while I'm crossing them over and then raising my whip and then kind of shaking it, making some rhythmic pressure with my whip, and then feeding him his treat. And so I am clicking as he steps over, and I try to get both the front legs and the hind legs moving over together when I click. If one part is lagging, like the front legs or the hind legs, I'll click for that specific body part. But so as far as the feeding goes, like I'll start with like a little bit bigger piece where he's just feeling the hay, and then I'll get it a bit smaller where he can like touch my hand and then get used to touching my hand because he was afraid of that at first. So I'm going to speed up during the feeding part, and then some of the desensitizing part as well. That time, like, he moved away, but he was just anticipating going sideways. So like I kind of helped him out and was like, okay, let's move your hind end over, not just your front end. So he kind of get a little practice at the sideways, but made sure that he was not afraid of the whip as well. So just feel his hindquarters. So he has his hindquarters lacking most of the time, so I'm just kind of working on getting the hindquarters over, and working on that specifically. And then we'll go on to we'll move on to just the sideways after I kind of untrack his hindquarters a bit there, because he does want to lag with them a bit. I'll speed up through this part. I'm just kind of talking and letting him settle, but it is important to let your horse settle between doing things, but I'm going to speed it up so this video isn't super long. So again, I'm using my pre-cue, cross my legs over, lift my whip, and then I'll kind of move it in a rhythmic way, and there he's crossing over decently. So when he's crossing over, I'm going to click him, and then I'm going to feed him. I use my black whip, that's going to be my right hand, just occasionally. If I need to block his forward movement, I'll raise it up a little bit, or if I need to help unstick a part of his body. So if I need to unstick his shoulders, I can kind of help that move over. That's what I use that for. So some horses want to move forward more than others. Atlas is decent at it. He understands this pretty well. But you can really tell the difference here in him with using the positive reinforcement. So I think I introduced that in the last video, and I was just pouring it in a bowl, which I wanted to get away from because I want him to be looking at me and eating out of my hand. So that's where we're coming in with the hay bag. But he definitely wants to stay a lot more, and he just seems overall a lot more relaxed. So we're going to work on sideways toward. So he's pretty good at this. You definitely have to get your sideways away really good and consistent. And then I'm just going to add a pre-cue. So my pre-cue is I'm lifting my black driving whip up, and then I'm going to step over away from him. And then I'm going to use my longer lunge whip in the same position, but my arm's going to be further because I need to kind of reach around his body and then push him over in the direction I want to go. So you kind of have to play with it. Some horses won't understand as much as others, and you kind of you might have to position yourself more on the opposite side. So like here, he's going to be side passing toward me to his left, and my left, to my left. So I might need to be more off to the right side, but see, he's like, okay, I understand. So he's already going that direction. We were already working that way. So he kind of is like, okay, I'm going sideways this way. So that's when I can add in the pre-cue, and he's going to understand it pretty well. He's already thinking like, go sideways to the right for his right, and he will get a reward. So he's kind of already offering that behavior, so I can add that pre-cue in. But here, so he didn't really understand, so I'm going to back it up with my other whip. Very good. I'll release the pressure. And it's okay if I put that black whip down like I did. It's not a big deal. So that was really good. So I'll click him for that. Once I'm just going to start with like a little shift of weight. He gave me like full steps, but if your horse is struggling, just a little shift in the weight and he comes toward that whip, I would click and reward that. So I'm just going to kind of move him so he's not walking into the fence. So I'm just going to have him just draw toward me and do some leading, which he's doing a lot better with as well. Because you don't want him to get too close to the fence and he feels claustrophobic. I want him to definitely feel like he's got enough space to move. Just the same like with backing up. You don't want him to back into a fence. So ask him again. Very nice. He's just kind of going on his own there. I'm not having to really push him over with my lunge whip, so that looks really good. Again, here I'm just talking over the fence and giving him a second to just hang out. And he just seems a lot more relaxed than he has before, so that looks really good. He's a lot less jumpy to the whips as well. So this looks nice. See how he really wants to lag those hindquarters? There we go. I'll help him catch those up. And then do some desensitizing. I am just feeding occasionally when he does a really good step and when he's going in the right direction. Like that one was pretty good, but I didn't feed for that one. Very good. That looks better too. Again, I don't want him getting too close to the fence, so we'll just work on some leading and following me, and then I'll ask again. But really, he's doing a great job for this. Can be a tricky exercise, so he's doing quite well. So I'm just going to help him and help bring those hindquarters over. And then once those hindquarters catch up is when I click and I'll feed him. So he was doing really well with moving the shoulders, and then his hindquarters just kind of got stuck. So there I was just talking, so I cut all that part out, but I just stood there and talked for like 5 minutes. Gave him a little chance to have a break. So again, he wants to kind of go off with his shoulders and not move his hindquarters, and he was a little skeptical about going under the tree, so I'm just going to move him over and keep asking him over here. So here I'm going to set him up, ask for the sideways over. He's not going, so help him out. There we go. That was pretty good. He took a step with his front leg and his hind leg at the same time, so that was pretty good. Again, we'll fast forward through this, but I do give him a minute to just hang out. He does a lot of chewing. He can relax and settle a bit before I move on. And then I, of course, go ahead and just rub him with the whip. Then I'll give him my cue. There he goes with his shoulders. I'm going to help him out with his hindquarters. Very good. And I click him as soon as he takes that step across with his hind legs. So that looks really good. So then we're going to start working on this side. So I think he starts offering me the opposite behavior because he's used to that. But I'm just going to start off with like, okay, we're going to go sideways to his left now, to my right, and just kind of get him thinking going sideways to the right now versus getting stuck on that other side. So I had him step over there a little bit. So he's still like, I'm supposed to go to the left, to my left. I'm like, no. So see how I take a step over to my left to kind of get more on that side and help him out and show him like, okay, remember sideways away? Remember when you could step over? That was really good. So then I'll go back, pre-cue, there, he's got it. And his hindquarters are lagging a little bit. I probably should have just clicked there since he had really figured it out, but I didn't, but I'm just pointing that out. So I'm using my black whip here to stop his forward movement, and then we got the hindquarters. I just specifically tapped for those. Again, ask for my pre-cue here. He wants to go forward. That's okay. So I'm kind of move my body sideways, bring my whip up, and then you kind of have to be in two places at once. So I was trying to start over here to my right, and then I might have to take a step over to my left to kind of push him over with my body and kind of go back in that position that I was in for the sideways away. So then it makes more sense to him. So there he's like, okay, sideways away to this direction. So he's really going. So I'm going to do the opposite. So I'm just going to be like, okay, that's great. Desensitize him and then see if he'll follow that pre-cue now that he's kind of got sideways to the other direction. So act my pre-cue. He's a little confused. Better. Good. That was pretty nice. So I'll feed him here. Give him a minute to settle. And the hay really helps out. If your horse is going to take it and it's going to be enough motivation for them, it really helps them chew and relax and hang out. So that's really good. But some horses might not be as motivated by the hay. You might have to have like a Timothy hay or an alfalfa hay. It kind of depends. This is just Timothy hay that they get for breakfast and dinner, but it seems to be enough for him right now. So he's still like, oh, I'm going to the right. I'm like, no, we're going to go to the left. So then I just correct him. Very good. That's a very nice side pass, actually. He's not being bad. He's just confused. He's like, oh, that's what I'm supposed to do. So I'm just going to say, nope, you're going to go this way. Very good. And I'll click him for that. So I just want to show him what the correct answer is. He's just offering me a behavior that he was previously taught. Like, that's the stickiest part about this, is getting the pre-cue switched over to having them come towards your whip or your arm cue, and then differentiating between the sides. Those are your two biggest hurdles. Once you got that, the horses have the behavior and you're good to go, and they usually really like doing it too. So even here, like, I was just moving I'm laughing in this clip here. I was just moving my lunge whip. He was like, come over here, sideways toward, and I'm like, you're a dork. Like, he's adorable. He's just trying so hard. It's very cute. And then he's like, away? He just needs some direction. At least he's doing what I want, and he's engaged. So that's really cool. There, I push his hindquarters over a little bit. Desensitize, ask again. He's thinking about going away. I'm going to help him out here. There we go. Very good. Give him a treat here. And it probably would have helped me out if I had rewarded him a little bit more in the beginning, and not quite asked for so much. He is learning, he is doing well, but that's just the one critique that I'll give myself for this. Which I watch these and I'm like, oh, I could have fixed this and this and this, but that's good. That's another reason to videotape yourself. We're not perfect, so it's just good things to learn with. So lift my whip up, and I took a step over away to my right, and then he picked it up right away, so I'll click him and feed him. That was really good. I try to keep my lessons pretty slow too, or not slow, pretty short too. So here I'm giving him 2 handfuls. I'm going to give him like a little jackpot here because he figured out what I wanted the first time. But I want to keep my lessons short so I don't get him frustrated. He doesn't get burned out, and it's not too much for him. It's like, oh, this was really fun. I want him like wanting more, basically. So that was really good. I'm going to end him on that and just have him kind of follow me and just kind of hang out with him, pet on him, and then that will be the end of the session for him for today.